If you're a person living with a disease that requires a special diet, then you're more likely to have limited food options, pay 240% more money for those foods, and have a harder time locating the food, according to the National Institute of Health. Conditions like celiac disease, type 1 and type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, all conditions that require the patient to watch what they eat on a daily basis. Because if they have side effects like nausea, fainting, or seizures, it could lead to hospital visits or worse. Today on Ask Dr. Nandi, we're tightening our aprons and headed to the kitchen. We'll be preparing meals for 3 different types of specific dietary needs. We'll find quick, easy, and delicious meals that meet all the requirements of these conditions for guests who are struggling to stay on track.
So I'm a gastroenterologist, and I practice and live in the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan. I'm a big sports fan.
He became the Rhodes Scholar representative as well as the homecoming king at Ohio State.
You know, what we're trying to do is replicate what you would have, for example, in my office. You know, we want to be real and answer questions that are tough sometimes. Take a topic and really understand it and develop a solution. At the end, we'll help the patient that's in front of us and also help the patients at home as well as in the studio audience. That's the essence of what we want to do.
Thank you for that warm applause. I appreciate it. Today we're talking about cooking for your condition. We'll meet 3 guests with specific dietary needs and a nutritionist who's going to help us find the answers. First, let's meet Anna, who not only suffers from celiac disease but also type 1 diabetes. Please welcome her. Hi. Long time no see. How are you? Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So tell these folks a little bit about yourself and your condition. What's been going on?
Well, I've had type 1 diabetes since I was 4. Was diagnosed in '89, and I've been dealing with that. Was on injections daily for about 24 years now, and I recently just started on the insulin pump. I found out when I was 18 that I was allergic to gluten, which is celiac disease. What I was told is that diabetes is an autoimmune deficiency disease, and so is celiac disease. And eventually, once you get one, you're eventually going to get
really
them
lucky
all.
then.
Yeah, super lucky.
Got both at the same time.
Exactly.
And for those of you, both, I've got 2 members of my family who are diabetics. It is hard enough to cook for diabetes, let alone now you've got to have this whole separate diet, which by itself is difficult. So the challenge is that trying to find anything to eat that doesn't either mess with your diabetes or your celiac. So Anna will tell us more and tell us about her struggles about trying to find food earlier on in her diagnosis and now. So please stay with us.
Diabetes is an incredibly expensive disease to have, so definitely I have to make a lot of sacrifices.
Right now, at the Alcera Auto Plaza in Grand Blanc, we have way more inventory than we've ever had in our history. Bad for us, but really good for you.
Announcing the Alcera Emergency Inventory Reduction Sale across all brands.
Details coming up. At Alcera Chevrolet, we've got more Chevys in stock than we've ever had, and we've got to move them out, which is great news for you.
Payments under $100 a month during our Emergency Inventory Reduction Sale at Alcera Chevrolet.
You'll do better at Alcera.
Welcome back. We left you, we're talking with Anna about having diabetes, type 1 diabetes, and also celiac disease. And when we first were diagnosed with celiac, it was a different world, and now it's a little easier now. Tell me what happened, let's see, when you first got diagnosed, how easy was it to find foods that were, that were gluten-free? It wasn't that easy, was it?
No, not at all. It was really difficult because, it was 10 years ago. It was 2003. It's only 2013, but things have changed so much as far as food and the labeling. I'd go out to eat. I'd tell my server, I have a food allergy. This is what I'm allergic to. I had, a list of all the ingredients that I was allowed to have. People would start arguing with me and telling me that there's no wheat, or there's not this. And
they'd argue with you that you have an allergy?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And they'd tell me that certain foods were safe, and, I'd eat it, and I'd tell them, I'll know within 10 to 15 minutes of eating this if this is safe for me or not. I'm still going to be in your restaurant. And so I'd eat the food that they tell me was okay, and I'd end up getting sick. And this happened more times than not. So it got to the point where eating out wasn't really an option.
Because it was a pain.
Because it was
a lot
a pain,
of work. Yeah.
And people didn't really understand the allergy. They didn't have the awareness that they do now. As far as like grocery shopping, now it's gotten a lot easier because a lot of foods will say specifically on there that it's gluten-free. But back then, it was a laundry list of ingredients that can have gluten in it, and basically trying to memorize each of those ingredients and then spending about 20 minutes for each item that I needed to buy at the grocery store studying the ingredients.
Yeah,
So
that could be hard because the little tiny print all the way down about this long. You're absolutely right. And now, you know, people without celiac disease are having gluten-free diets, so it's become much more popular and it's easier to find it. So what about the diabetes? How hard is it to have a diabetic diet at the same time?
Well, a lot of the gluten-free specific food is higher in carbohydrates and calories than regular bread or regular food. So it's gotten to the point where I kind of have to, if I want to have like a gluten-free pizza or a gluten-free sandwich, I really have to be super aware of how many carbohydrates I'm consuming and what it does to my blood sugar.
Yeah.
Because the items and the ingredients are different than the standard bread or standard pasta. So your body processes it differently, and it takes time to figure out how each type of food is going to affect me. So it's definitely a balancing act.
And so how do you do it though? So for people wondering, you know, they may have at least one or two of these problems, and what did you do? How do you cook for yourself most often, or what's your approach?
Well, I mean, it's gotten to the point where, like, as far as eating out, ordering very simple, basic, like grilled chicken, salad. I do a lot of research online as far as grocery shopping, specific food items, things that I want to try. I belong to a lot of different gluten-free and diabetic communities online.
Good.
To get that, you know, extra information and help that way. But it's really, it's kind of become trial and error, and you sometimes you learn the hard way, unfortunately.
Yeah, you get burned. The other thing that is, and you know this too, lots of people complain to us that, you know, you tell us to have a healthy diet, you tell us to have a gluten-free diet, but it's the expense. It's more expensive. And tell us about that. Is it true, and what you do to combat that?
Well, I mean, there's not really anything I can do as far as combating it because I have to eat those foods. It's just kind of figuring out what I can live without and what I really need to have. So if I wanted to have a donut, I'm going to buy those donuts, those gluten-free donuts, but I'm only going to buy them once every couple months or something like that. Or I'm going to freeze them and I'm going to make them last.
Yeah, yeah.
There's not really like any way to get around it as far as those specific items, but eating fresh foods, rice, vegetables, meats, things like that are always safe. And yeah, we try to buy organic and things like that, but it's just making do with what I'm allowed to eat.
Yeah, I'll tell you, for people on a budget, lots of us here at home are on a budget. You know, frozen vegetables are often, and I've always said this, you know, when people say, oh, vegetables are hard to buy for because they're expensive, but sometimes the freshest vegetables are frozen. Every grocery store has a sale, you know, at some point. It's got to be something you plan for, and it's not easy. But what you do is you plan for the week. So you look at the circulars and you find out when you can buy those things, and you buy them on sale. Like you said, vegetables and meat you can still eat in both those diets in the right proportion. So here's I think the lesson, you know, and you've done this well. You can always find the excuses why you can't do something, or say, is my life more important than my cell phone, than my hair, than my whatever else you're going to be doing? And you make priorities. And often when you really look at that and make a budget, you'd be surprised. You don't need that cell phone that, you know, will start your car, make your coffee, you know, get you up in the morning, plus say hello to you. You can get just a normal cell phone that calls you, and then you save some money every month, you know. And then same thing with other personal items. I think you just put your health as a priority, and I'm sure you've done that too, right?
Absolutely. Diabetes is an incredibly expensive disease to have, so definitely I have to make a lot of sacrifices in that aspect.
Plus, you know, my mom is now blind from diabetes. She's got neuropathy from diabetes. She had a stroke from diabetes. Let me tell you, when you get those things and you see what the options are, you do everything in your power to make sure that you don't get those complications. I mean, my mom can't even see going from her bedroom to the bathroom, and that's from diabetes. So if you're watching at home, it's always fun to kind of talk about it, and you know. But when it comes down to it, these are life-threatening diseases that can take away your entire freedom. So it's critical to understand these things that we're talking about, and how to cook, how to take your medication. So important points. Thank you for telling us how you do it. And we have to take a break. When we come back, we'll go in the kitchen and we'll join by Dr. Valanda Thompson and tell us how to make a healthy diet and a healthy meal for you. Okay.
Perfect.
Next.
We're going to prepare the veggie brown rice casserole.
Today, people are doing lots of things to go green. But there's still more we can do. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a developer, or a consumer, greeningdetroit.com is your information portal to products and services you need to go green. Go to greeningdetroit.com to find out where you can do more. greeningdetroit.com.
Welcome back. We're now back in the Nandi kitchen with the author of Beyond Candied Yams and Sweet Potato Pie. Thank you for joining us. This is Dr. Valanda Thompson. So we heard about Anna, who suffers from celiac disease and diabetes, and what delicious dish are we going to prepare for her?
We're going to prepare the veggie brown rice casserole.
Okay, veggie brown rice
Really easy
casserole.
dish.
Perfect.
6 ingredients. Colorful. I like to talk about eating like a rainbow. So we've got lots of color. We've got brown rice, which is naturally gluten-free.
Right.
So and quinoa would be another one if you wanted to use that as in terms of grains that are naturally gluten-free. Broccoli, carrots, butternut squash, and then 2 types of mushrooms. Portobellos, I always like getting portobellos in there. So you've got protein, you've got lots of vitamins, and you're not using the gluten.
And some sweetness too with these 2 ingredients,
absolutely.
right?
Everything goes into the mixing bowl. So with our brown rice, color, I love color.
Yeah, it is nice.
Isn't that pretty? Just pretty looking at it, putting it together, and you're thinking
Even I can do this. The camera get that? I just put all of it in.
Absolutely, yes. We're mixing it up.
That's good.
And actually, you can, once you start to spray on the brags, and this is gluten-free as well, a good alternative to maybe soy sauce if you've been using soy sauce.
And what is that again?
This is liquid aminos.
Okay.
So not only are you getting some flavor, some moisture, but you're getting some aminos that your body needs to do its thing.
And so maybe people who don't know what that means, could you explain why aminos are important in any way?
In the process of, there's so many enzymic processes that happen in the body, and the aminos are one of the things that the body needs to do the different enzymic processes.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
And then feed our other systems. All of our body systems are intertwined. That's the thing we've got to remember. And so once we've mixed this all up, we put it in a casserole dish, stick it in the oven, and so for the next 25 minutes, you can be off doing something else while the wonderful dish is being prepared.
How about protein level? Now, what about the protein? Where are we going to get any of the protein from here?
The protein, most of the protein is going to come from the mushrooms.
Okay.
However, most vegetables have some level of protein in them.
Yeah, broccoli has some as well.
Broccoli has some as well. So we don't have to worry about not getting our protein because we're not having meat.
And that's an important concept. People don't get that. They say, how do these vegetarians survive? Where's the protein? And you can get a lot of that from the vegetables. So you put that in the oven, and then you come up with this wonderful dish,
This
right?
wonderful, colorful, fragrant dish.
So we'll try this dish and see. So let's try it, you guys.
Smell the fragrance.
It's really, yeah, absolutely. It's very good. This is something that you could try to put in your normal, pattern meals.
Yeah, for sure. It's great.
What do you like about it?
I like the crunchiness. I like the different textures in there. And I'm a big veggie person, so I love anything with a bunch of vegetables in it. So it's really good.
I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, and then just one, we have just a little bit of time left, but she talked about the expense of being somebody who's, on a gluten-free diet and diabetic. Maybe some tips for, I talked about, just frozen vegetables, looking for sales. What advice would you give her?
Well, that's what's exciting about this. Now, what I shopped for this dish cost me less than $10. The other thing about it, this is casserole, so it's more than one serving. So maybe if a family of 2, a family of 4, so you got multiple meals, and then you've still got some ingredients left over. So when you look at it spread out, it really is not that expensive.
Perfect. Well, I'll keep eating, but we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll meet Jennifer, who suffers from type 2 diabetes, next.
If I eat, I'm not perfect, and if I do eat, bread, God forbid, right?
Yeah.
I fall asleep.
Yeah. Well, because your body's not used to it anymore.
Yeah, I get very tired.
There are plenty of stressful situations in life, but buying a car doesn't have to be one of them. In fact, buying a vehicle at the Alcera Auto Plaza in Grand Blanc is stress-less. At Alcera, you always get our best price up front. You never have to worry that you paid too much or that someone else got a better deal. There's no pressure, no pushy salespeople. Plus, the convenience of one-stop shopping with more than 2,000 vehicles to choose from. Stress less at the Alcera Auto Plaza in Grand Blanc. Shop us 24/7 at alcera.com.
Welcome back. Now we're joined by Jennifer, who suffers from type 2 diabetes as well as high cholesterol, and you're a heart attack survivor, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, and so tell us about your diet and how long you've had to stick, first of all, to your diabetic diet. Let's start with that.
I was diagnosed about 2 years ago with diabetes. I had my heart attack 11 years ago, and at that time I had no high blood pressure, no high cholesterol, but because I had survived, they wanted me to go lower, so they did put me on medication to lower my cholesterol and lower my blood pressure, just to keep it lower than normal because of the
risk for having heart attacks again. Absolutely, they keep it at a lower level. So let me ask you this. So 11 years ago, it was a big shock, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and you were hospitalized probably,
Yes.
and you were lucky that you came out and you did okay.
It was a blessing. They told me that it was from stress and smoking, so I quit smoking and quit my job. I was an executive chef, and it was very stressful at a country club, and I worked 60 to 80 hours some weeks. I had 2 kids at home in 1st and 2nd grade, and at that point I just said it's more important to see my kids than bring in the extra income.
Exactly, and congratulations on quitting smoking too.
Thanks.
That is a tough thing. It's incredibly tough, but I'm glad you did it. Glad you did it. So did you change your diet back then, 11 years ago?
I did change my diet back then somewhat, where I tried to watch what I ate, especially with the higher cholesterol foods, but it was harder because I was at home. Being in the restaurant, I just had to taste things all day long, so I was kind of constantly eating, where when I got home it was more sit down to meals.
Right.
And that was a big difference too.
Well, let me ask you, which was harder? Because sometimes in the restaurant you have a lot more variety because you can eat whatever is out there.
Absolutely.
Whereas at home, so it was harder at home? Because
Yes,
you sit down
it was.
Meals, right? Yeah,
it
that's what I
was.
thought.
And it wasn't the fact that my family liked different stuff. I mean, they'll eat anything. I mean, my kids were 4 and eating snails. So.
Charlie, you watching? Snails for dinner tonight. They're good kids. Snails?
Yes, snails.
Oh, wow. You got them trained. That's a different show.
Yeah.
But so you when you got home, how did you plan and what did you do to change your diet, and how difficult was it?
Well, it was difficult. I was still I had a mindset of restaurant portions.
Yeah.
You know, being the chef, the boss would say, "Oh no, load up the plate, make it look like they're getting something."
What restaurant do you go to?
Because
when I go to restaurants, it's always like give them less.
Well,
give them less.
Really?
Yes, I gotta go to the country club that you used to work in.
Well, I'm not there anymore, so the food's not as good.
Of course. So you try to change your diet 11 years ago. Then 2 years ago you had the diagnosis of diabetes. How did that change?
Well, it's made me more aware of I try and follow like a glycemic index type thing.
Maybe explain to me what that means.
Where it's the higher the fiber with the carbs, it actually lowers the impact on your body.
Yeah, and
so I try and up the fiber. And like they've got pastas out now that are 6 grams of fiber in a serving, as opposed to the plain white
which have
pastas.
a higher hypoglycemic index.
Right,
So
right.
if you have a lower glycemic index, what happens is your body's blood sugar it goes up more gradually. It's not a sudden surge.
Right.
And so you want things that are lower glycemic index. So go ahead. I'm
Right, but if I eat, I'm not perfect, and if I do eat, bread, God forbid, right,
Yes.
I fall asleep.
Yeah. Well, because your body's not used to it anymore.
Yeah, I get very tired.
And what happens is that these high glycemic indexes, there's a big surge of blood sugar, and then guess what? The drop.
Right.
And when it drops like that, you get the fatigue that you're talking about. So how about your family, the snail-eating family? Now, how have they adjusted? I'm sorry, that was too tempting. But your snail-eating family, how have they adjusted to your diabetic diet?
They were fine. They just always ate whatever I put in front of them, so it didn't matter. They actually probably never even noticed a change.
Wow.
That I know, except for when I make muffins for my coffee in the morning, and they'd like, "Are those your muffins, Mom? Because I'm gonna wait for some of Grandma's." Because mine would be high fiber. They'd have, low sugar, applesauce instead of oil. They'd have
nice
flaxseed in them. They'd have nuts in them. They'd have whole wheat flour, and
that sounds delicious.
I
though.
thought they were
They're
good.
Delicious, yeah. And plus, I think the key that you're a former chef, you probably made a lot of things taste really good. And
I did. So our biggest problem is always portion size. I can cook healthy, but it's getting that mindset of portion size.
Yeah, how have you done that? What have you done to make that happen?
Well, I do anyway, and my one daughter would eat on smaller plates to help keep the portion size down. My husband, he still goes back for seconds. Nothing I can do there.
Do your best.
If he doesn't get his meat and potatoes. So.
But here's a trick I have seen is that if you have your kids cook with you, they eat less because they have to do more and they have to cook more. And so one way of getting those portion size down is have your family work with you to make the meal, because when you have to do a lot more than just sit down and say, give me the food, you understand better, and I think it helps you kind of to curb that big plate side. And there was a time in our lives when we would say just finish our plates no matter how big it was. So great tips and great ideas. I appreciate it. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, Dr. Valanda will help Jennifer make a quick, delicious, inexpensive dish that her whole family will enjoy. Please stay with us.
Add a little bit of cinnamon.
And what does that do? Just add a little bit of flavor? Or?
It adds flavor, but also there are some medicinal properties in cinnamon. Every single ingredient has medicinal properties in addition to having vitamins and minerals in them.
Right at Home provides care mostly to senior citizens in their homes.
This gives me an opportunity to be in my own home.
Clients can expect that our caregivers are matched to their needs, that we're responsive, and we provide ongoing support until the care ends. Our mission is to improve the quality of life for our clients and their families.
I can go to bed at night, I can go to work, and I know that everything is going to be fine.
Call us for a free in-home consultation at 877-329-3451.
Welcome back in. We're back with Dr. Valanda and Jennifer to make a delicious dish that is diabetes friendly. So what do we have here?
We are going to do sweet potato and greens.
Oh, nice. Like sweet potatoes.
Yes, yes. And sweet potatoes is naturally diabetic friendly.
Why is that?
It's about, when we talk about the glycemic index, it is very low on the glycemic index. As you can see, we've got, 5-6 ingredients. Again, very few ingredients, but lots of color, which means that you're going to have lots of vitamins, lots of antioxidants, a lot of cancer-fighting nutrients. Really easy dish to do. We start with the oil, safflower oil. Safflower oil or sunflower oil, as opposed to maybe using canola oil all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the oils are good. We need the fat. Garlic. Yes. And food is medicine, right?
Yes,
so
yes.
we start to smell the fragrances, and that's is a healing thing too, Then we add, it's about a pound of collard greens, which is about a bunch, good healthy bunch, chopped up. I like to think of the greens as the washboard for our system. So if we're getting in the greens, we're helping to cleanse, detox our body, as well as get some of the cancer-fighting nutrients that are in the greens.
Do you like collard greens at all?
I do. I like almost everything.
I like her.
I don't like ketchup.
And you're going to spend, you know, maybe about 10 minutes or so.
Kind of sauteing it a little bit?
Yeah. Initially,
you can really
just
smell it
to.
now.
Oh, can't you smell
Fred,
that
can you smell it?
garlic?
Yeah. Can you guys smell it now? Want to come down here?
And once the oil and garlic is kind of filtered through all of this, then we're going to add some water, about a cup of water.
Now, what does that do? Just reduce it a little bit?
And then what this does is to steam it. You know, you want to steam it for maybe about 10 minutes. You typically are going to cover it, and so that softens up the greens for you, okay?
Perfect.
And after about 10 minutes or so, when it is all softened and the water is steamed down, then we add our sweet potatoes. Now, you will have previously boiled off your sweet potatoes just to tender, and then chop them in bite-sized pieces, whatever bite size is for you.
And what's nice is that if you have kids, you know, you can have them work with you, like chop, even if they can chop up some of this for you and the collard greens.
We're going to add a little bit of cinnamon. Okay.
And what does that do? Just add a little bit of flavor? Or?
It adds flavor, but also there are some medicinal properties in cinnamon. Every single ingredient has medicinal properties in addition to having vitamins and minerals in them. So it's a very, you know, nutrient dense.
Good.
That's the word I like to
That's
use.
perfect.
A nutrient dense a dish. A little black pepper to taste.
Yeah.
Absolutely great for the blood pressure instead of the pills, okay? And then once we've gotten
black
it to
pepper?
tender, a little black pepper, and then you black pepper to whatever your taste
Perfect.
is, okay? And then after that has gotten tender to where you want to, you put it in your dish, and then you top it with a little agave nectar and lemon. This is a mixture of
Tell us
agave
about agave nectar. There has some health properties of that as well, isn't it?
You know, agave nectar is a plant-based sweetener. It comes from the cactus plant, actually. And so in terms of glycemic index, we always want to try to choose things that are low on the glycemic index.
For diabetes, yeah.
Great alternative to any of the sweeteners that you might be using now, particularly because it is plant-based. And again, it's diabetic friendly.
Is it time to eat yet?
It is time to eat.
I love that part.
Yes.
All right, Mama, eat first.
Okay.
This is delicious. You can actually you can taste all the flavors, can't you? It's wonderful, all natural.
Very good.
And something you can eat, right, you said?
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful.
Add some good bread to this, and you got your meal.
Perfect. Again, we have to take a break. When we come back, we'll meet Nanan, who wants to go from being a meat lover to a vegan. Please stay with us.
My body has been going through some changes, and definitely since I've been a teenager, and that's been a while ago. And I noticed as a teen that when I ate meat, because I used to dance in high school and throughout college, with some parts in college, I noticed I would get sluggish.
I live alone and I have a caregiver that's with me.
We started probably a year ago needing to find some assistance. We chose Right at Home. They've been wonderful.
This gives me an opportunity to be in my own home.
I can go to bed at night, I can go to work, and I know that everything is going to be fine. It was the absolute right choice to go on board with Right at Home.
Call us for a locally owned Right at Home in your area at 877-329-3451.
Thanks for coming back. We now have Nana Dansoa. She is somebody who wants to go from a meat lover to a vegan. And so what made you want to make that change? Why do you want to be a vegan?
My body has been going through some changes, and definitely since I've been a teenager, and that's been a while ago. And I noticed as a teen that when I ate meat, because I used to dance in high school and throughout college, with some parts in college, I noticed I would get sluggish. And as
When you ate meat, you mean?
Yes, I would get very sluggish, and I just didn't like the way I felt. So I would come off meat and come back on it. So I changed from eating pork. Then I went to say I'm going to eat only just beef, and so I came off that. But you know, my mother cooked very healthy. She did. We would only be able to go to restaurants once a month, so we ate very healthy
At home, but you ate a lot of meat, didn't you?
You know,
or no?
No, it wasn't like that. We had our portions. When I really got into it was when I got on my own in college. I was like, I could do what I want. Hello. Oh no, I have to eat mommy's way. So this is great. And so I did whatever I wanted, because now in college you can eat whatever you want for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, not mommy style. So this rocked. And then, you know, it just went to this point where I ate it so much where my body changed and I started gaining weight.
What did you love to eat when you got to college and didn't have to eat mommy style anymore?
My gosh. Pizza, breakfast, I can have it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
That's a food group for you.
Oh gosh, hello. And the cool thing about it is that I worked in the cafeteria.
So you can have as much as you want.
Oh God, yay! So it's like, let's stuff this baby, whoop whoop. I was so excited about that. And then burgers, I'm like, for real? This is happening? And so I just ate. I ate and kept and didn't stop. I'm like, wow. And you know, it's a lot of pressure when you're in college, you know, definitely during the studies and etc. So I noticed that I started gravitating when I was nervous, I ate meat and I didn't feel good afterwards.
I was the same way in college, I have to admit. They used to have shrimp night. They saw me coming. They said, oh no. Because I would just wouldn't stop. I think I went like 6 times and got the buffet. But it's amazing what you are as a kid. The important thing is that you realize pretty quickly how you feel and change your diet. And you've tried to do that. So when did you start? You said, how old were you when you first started thinking about getting off this meat and trying to go more healthy?
18. I went through that 18th stage, and I knew it, and I tried it. And so throughout life, I said, well, I'm gonna try this thing. So I went through being a vegetarian and said, I'm doing it. Cold turkey, no chicken, no anything, I'm done. Boom, right? I did it. Then I got stressed out, and I became a flexitarian, right? So flexitarian, I looked up the—
What the heck is a flexitarian?
Oh my gosh, it's a new word. And I was happy. I was happy.
Don't you love her energy? I love it. You should come over to our house every morning.
I love you, right?
Like, yeah.
I was so happy I could be a hypocrite. I'm like, this is good. I can eat meat on one day, and the rest of the weeks I can go ahead and be, you know, a vegetarian.
Flexitarian.
Boom. And then I was like, this is good. I'm happy. I'm loving this, right? And so I slowly came from flexitarian to what my mom calls a fakeitarian.
Fakeitarian.
Yes. So mommy calls me a fakeitarian. She was like, so you're faking like you're being a vegetarian when I'm around, right? Because I didn't want my mother to call me to the carpet parents. You guys just do that. And so I was like, yeah, I'm not eating meat. And so, and you're looking at me balloon and scratching like, oh gosh, I just had some of this stuff. So I'm like, okay, I have to do this because now I'm thinking in the future, I want to be married and have children. I don't want to carry this weight to my family. I don't want to carry those unhealthy practices there. And one of the things that really was kind of a life-changing experience for me is I'm Ghanaian American. My father is an immigrant, and he's from Ghana, and he's deceased now. But when I eventually met some of his family, they began to tell me some of the medical issues. And they said, you know, you eat more like, you eat more American, and that's not how we eat. And you have to eat for your health. And a part of how we eat is a vegetable-based diet. We have more whole grains. We eat a lot of the fufu. We eat spinach stew. We have stews, and we have you can have meat. And I wasn't into the goat meat. I was like, go ahead, keep that right there. I love you. No, to Americanize, love you. So, but they began to tell me all about this, and I just decided, like, you know, I'm not gonna listen. But my body is saying you need to go ahead and just shift a little bit more because now I want this family, and I don't want to carry this and this feeling to it.
So how are you going to stop being a fakeitarian?
Oh gosh, you know, so I did my I tried to do this, Dr. Nandi. I tried to do this like cleanse thing, and I lost a good breakfast, you know, a good breakfast, and then I smelled bacon. I was like, wow, I'm gonna bacon diet, 1 slice, okay? So I don't know, but I know I need to make this decision quickly because I don't want to go the rest of my life like this.
Yeah. Well, I think that you said some critical things. Is that number one, that your future is more important than that little bit of pleasure you get for a short period of time. And once you make that decision, you get committed, and I think you're getting committed. And then the other thing is that you went to your roots and you said, listen, you know, there are other people, amazingly, who don't have bacon or sausage and all the stuff that is thrown at you. The difficult part of what you're talking about is that we're inundated with these images. You know, I mean, once you pay attention, it's everywhere. And so it's very difficult to do. But I think if you keep your mind on the goal, and what you're doing is you're talking about your future. And then when you were with your mom and eating a little healthier, was your weight different?
Yes. You know, I felt great. I lost weight quickly. I went through a season in my life where I was doing Zumba, trying to get back into dance because I liturgically danced in my church, and I felt amazing. I could last, and I had stamina, like, yeah. And I didn't feel like I was getting drowsy. But once I noticed if I have a challenging moment, we went through deaths in the family, and, you know, the repast food is everywhere. The first thing I grabbed
is food.
That's it.
And the other thing that we would think of is that sometimes there's stress eating.
Yeah.
You know, when you have stress and you go to something of comfort, it's that the stress is relieved, not with the food, but the comfort that food gives you.
Yes.
And so what you then go is concentrate on how good you felt and how much energy you had when you weren't on that diet, and concentrate on that. And it's difficult to do, but you can train your mind to do it. I mean, all of us are guilty of it. You know, when you feel bad, you want to get that little pint of ice cream or whatever it is that you like that makes you feel comfortable. So what we'll do is we'll take a break. When we come back, Dr. Valanda Thompson will show you how to make some amazing meals and that could be vegan, and you'll enjoy just as much, okay?
Thank you so much.
That'll be next.
The tempeh is the primary source of protein in this dish, but again, most vegetables have some level of protein. They vary from one vegetable to the next, but you are not going to be missing out on the protein.
Are you or your loved one suffering with chronic foot and ankle pain? Did you know that foot and ankle pain can lead to serious complications? Hello, my name is Dr. Anthony Weinert, and I wrote a new book called Stop Feet Pain Fast, a user's guide to foot and ankle health, which is designed to give you the information and the answers that you need to maintain the health of your feet and ankles. Call toll-free or visit my website at www.stopfeetpainfast.com to request your free copy of my book, Stop Feet Pain Fast, a user's guide to foot and ankle health.
Welcome back. We're back with Dr. Valanda, who's here and ready to turn our fakeitarian into a real vegan, right? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
No more fakeitarian. I love your energy. Awesome. So what are we going to do today, Dr. Valanda?
Today we're going to do a tempeh pasta salad.
Tempeh pasta, okay.
Tempeh pasta.
Maybe you can talk a little bit about tempeh. I bet you a lot of people don't know what tempeh is, right? Yeah, what is tempeh?
Absolutely. A lot of people probably think about tofu when they think about a soy replacement for protein. But tempeh actually is a more nutrient-dense form of protein. It's unfermented. The fermentation process makes the nutritional value a little bit higher than the tofu, and it has a nice nuttiness that has a flavor as opposed to tofu, because tofu takes on the flavor of whatever you're cooking with, whereas tempeh comes with a nuttiness that's really nice and adds flavor to the dishes.
I'll be honest, we're talking off stage. I'm not a big lover of tofu. I just, I don't know, something about it. It doesn't, it's like a blah, it's kind of a little bit of a blah to me. I mean, it's an acquired taste, but I think this with the consistency will be better. What do you think?
It looks like meat. So.
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
It does.
A lot more than tofu.
But I'm sorry, what are we going to make today?
Well, so we start out with the brick of tempeh, and you marinate it 2 to 24 hours. I like doing it overnight because it makes it even better. With water, Bragg's, the liquid aminos, and then ginger, grated ginger.
Okay.
And once you've marinated, then now you're going to just cut it in bite-sized pieces, and it's kind of easy. Just kind of go down. As you can see, it's really easy to
it does look like
slice.
meat, doesn't it?
Yeah. Okay, look like chicken nuggets once you finish cutting them. Okay, it really does.
Nothing wrong with
Okay,
that.
but it
Healthy chicken nuggets?
tastes better than chicken nuggets.
Yeah, it's a lot better for you.
And a lot better for you. The body will be able to identify it a little bit quicker than it might the chicken. And the oils that I'm using is a toasted sesame oil and a little bit of safflower oil blend, okay?
And those oils, sesame and safflower, are typically non-GMO, aren't they?
Exactly. They're nut-based, and so they're healthier fats for you. You're going to wind up using less, okay? But the body does need some fat,
Absolutely.
just the good fat.
And when I said GMO, I'm sorry, I mean, you know, it's non-genetically modified organisms. So, you know, some people feel that there may be some benefit in having those type of foods. So it's, I think most of the time it's non-GMO.
Exactly.
So keep going.
Okay.
While you're doing that, you know, what's the difference between a vegetarian and a vegan?
The main difference is that the vegan does not eat any dairy or any animal, whereas a vegetarian may still eat cheese and dairy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So then you put this in your pan here.
Put it in the pan.
The whole thing, even your marinade or just the?
Actually, you don't have to put the marinade in.
We'll make a big noise.
If I had a scooper, probably would have been a little bit better to scoop these out. And actually, Dr. Nandi, what I can have you do is add our broccoli and our cauliflower to the boil and let it steam.
Let's use the knife. Just like home, I'll improvise.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
If I do get burnt, please save me, Fred.
Okay. All right. We got those in there. Sit better right there.
Perfect. Like me to cover it, hopefully? Or?
Yes, so we can steam up. Okay.
And just what? Medium?
Just to tender.
Okay.
And the tempeh, well, you know, stir fry a little, maybe about 10 minutes or so. Okay. And so what you'll wind up is with a nice flavored tempeh nuggets, okay? And then, so once the broccoli is done, you're gonna add the broccoli. You've already boiled off your pasta. I like the tricolor pasta because you've got your spinach in there, you've got your beet in there. As you can see, I love color, so we get our rainbow.
I like that theme, you know, you said if you see colors, that's even better for your health, too.
Absolutely. If you look at your plate and there's only 1 or 2 colors, then revamp the plate, add some more color to it. So then once everything is done, you just put all of that together, mix it all in, and add a little Annie's Goddess dressing, organic dressing, and you do that to taste. You know, some people like more, some people like less. Sprinkle with the red peppers on top, and now you are ready to eat.
And do you get much protein from obviously the tempeh?
The tempeh is the primary source of protein in this dish, but again, most vegetables have some level of protein. They vary from one vegetable to the next, but you are not going to be missing out on the protein.
And what about ginger? I mean, any health properties you can talk about with ginger?
The digestive system. That's the main thing. There's other things, but
you know, I love the digestive system. I use it frequently.
Absolutely.
Oh yes. But yeah, so what about the digestive system? Tell us a little bit what ginger does.
Well, the ginger does help with the digestive process. It helps to break down, you know, digestion actually starts in the mouth as soon as we start chewing. Okay? But the enzymes in the ginger work with the enzymic processes in our body. And to help help smooth the process of digestion.
Thank you.
Some people also feel like it's also good for your cardiovascular system. You know, we get ginger and onions, etc. So that also may be helpful. So
Ginger, onions, garlic, they all fit in that same category.
Here you are.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So what do you think about this? Would this be easier now to stop being a fakeitarian?
You know, it's tricking my eyes because this is looking like
this is really good.
meat, and I'm ready to try. I'm a very tough person.
First time trying tempeh. Have you had tempeh before? This is good.
Oh yeah, this is pretty good.
I'm gonna keep eating at the break too. Let me tell you
that. Yummy.
So you can have all the consistencies. Here's my question. So 2 things: preparation time. So the night before, I mean, you just put the brick of tempeh and then you marinate it. That doesn't take very long.
Doesn't take very long. You know, a couple of minutes to take it out of the pack and, you know, pour the marinade on it. Put it in the fridge.
How about this, boiling the pasta?
And I like to tell people to keep pasta and grains boiled off. So when you're boiling, boil off, you know, 3 or 4 cups. So now you've got some in the refrigerator that you can pull out for other meals.
This is great. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. It was delicious. I'm eating still. So I just want to make sure everybody sees Dr. Thompson's Beyond Candied Yams and Sweet Potato Pie. Wonderful, wonderful dishes. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And thanks for coming up.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take a quick break. We'll come back. Partha's Prescriptions. Stay with us. Thank you so much.
Willowbrook Manor Nursing and Rehab Center is not just a nursing home. We're a family providing the care and recovery you deserve. Our Home Express program is an innovative patient-centered approach to physical rehabilitation, incorporating streamlined communication with local hospitals and service providers, allowing patients to reach their maximum functional potential. Willowbrook Nursing and Rehab Center, working to get you back home.
Welcome back. We're with you again. Today we've talked about cooking for your condition. What can we take away from today's Partha's Prescriptions? Have fun with your food. Even if you're on a strict nutrition plan, it's important to add variety to your food to avoid getting bored. Also, plan meals ahead. Looking up foods and restaurant menus is so easy nowadays. There's no need to be in the dark about what choices are best for you. Also, stick to the plan. Ultimately, in cases where your condition is affected by the foods you eat, not eating the right ones could be a matter of life and death. Finally, ask for help. If you feel you can't keep on track, find a nutritionist that can help you and guide you to the right foods, and even may be able to help you to introduce you to new recipes. For more information on cooking for your condition or to revisit any of the information covered on our show, visit our website at www.askdrnandi.com. Also, we'd love to hear from you. Join the discussion on our Facebook and Twitter pages. Just search Ask Dr. Nandi. Lastly, there's a beautiful word in the Hindi language that literally means the light in me honors the light in you. And that word is namaste. So namaste to each and every one of you. Thank you for watching. See you next time. All right.